Here's Alydar. He's moving too. And Alydar comes like a shot into third.
Fusaichi Pegasus will roll into Kentucky as the favorite in the Derby.
And here it is. The 37-year wait is over. American Pharoah is finally the one.
Wouldn't be a discussion of a big race in New York, Richie, unless we talked about Easy Goer. And a lot of us thought, and I certainly did, that he was going to win the Triple Crown.
The consummate ease in which he won both the Gotham and then the Wood Memorial, and this was just basically like a workout, and really thought he was a lead pipe cinch. Now, little did we know there was a really good 3-year-old out on the West Coast that was a little shiftier than him, maybe.
He was a little bit fast early, but Easy Goer wasn't a plotter. He had won the Swale big at 7 furlongs in Florida. He came up and won the Gotham, and I'm sure you were here, and I was as well, when he went 132-2 over a very fast track. That was before the Wood. He had an easy time, basically, as you say, a public workout. He was a tremendous racehorse. Lost his debut, lost the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in the mud. Is it true?
Is it true?
But
Yep.
and then he came back, and he was brilliant as a 3-year-old. But as you say, he just met another brilliant 3-year-old.
Well, and he also looked a little bit uncomfortable at Churchill Downs.
I agree.
It just seemed like he always had a hard time getting over that ground. Now, I think he could have turned the tables on Sunday Silence in the Preakness. Pat Day moved aggressively, and then he remembered he was Pat Day, and when he folded up, he allowed Sunday Silence back in the race. I thought it was a brilliant tactical move when he did it, and then he gave it back.
And he kind of did the same thing in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but a lot of us New York racing fans are bitter and will always be bitter about Easy Goer's defeats. And I do wish that he had run a race at Churchill Downs in a fast track. Getting a muddy track in both the Breeders' Cup as well as the Derby, sometimes it's just not meant to be, but I don't think any of that takes away from Easy Goer. Much like his sire, Alydar, he was a great horse. He just happened to run into another great horse.
Well, absolutely, and I think, it's well said, because you got to give Sunday Silence his due. He's seriously top-class horse, as was Easy Goer. But I think when you talk about Easy Goer, you want to remember races like this Wood Memorial and just how easily he does things, the efficiency of his stride, and just how tractable he is. Anything Pat Day wants to do, he's willing to do it.
It was a perfectly named horse. He was a true Easy Goer. And, it is true. And you talk about giving the due to Sunday Silence. Sunday Silence was a great racehorse, and I don't throw that around. He was a great horse, and it took a great horse to beat Easy Goer 3 out of 4 times. Whether you think, like I do, he should have won the Preakness, I don't care if he beat him 1 out of 4 times. It took a great talent, but it doesn't diminish Easy Goer. And for New York racing fans, I don't think there's a horse that's more beloved. And when I remember that top of the stretch in the Belmont Stakes, when he took control of the 8th pole, I don't think I've ever been as happy about a race I didn't bet.
Well, and think about, the black and cherry red of the Phipps family, who just have supported New York racing for so long, and so many great horses. And here's this striking chestnut, by Alydar. Again, you talk about his sire just coming up in the wrong year. And it was interesting watching Pat Day here. Diamond Donnie, the horse on the lead with Vince Bracciali, had tricks in him. Sometimes he would bear out, and it looked like Pat was aware of that, so he kind of wanted to get up next to him to make sure he could hold him in if he did something silly.
And he lets the other horse comes outside of him, and that's Billy Fox, actually, with Rock Point comes outside of him. But Easy Goer is just too good as we go to Marshall Cassidy.
They approach the 8th pole. It's still Easy Goer. Now getting clear by a full length. Triple Buck on the inside of Rock Point. Those two vying for second. Easy Goer leads past 16th pole by 2, and Rock Point is second. Easy Goer has the lead.
One of the things I also remember about Easy Goer was Mr. Phipps, Ogden Phipps, Denny's father, walking him down the horse path. I can remember him walking him down the horse path in an allowance race at Saratoga as a 2-year-old.
Well, it shows you how much they thought of him, because you think about the horses that Mr. Phipps led into winner's circles, horses like Buck Passer,
right.
and so on and so forth, so many champions. This was the perfect prep race. Now, you think about the Wood Memorial, important race in its own right, but it is a prep for the Kentucky Derby. You want to win it, but you want to save something. That couldn't have been easier.
No, he absolutely won for fun. It wasn't a major margin, but as you say, he did what he needed to do to take the next step, and he danced so many dances, winning the Whitney, the Travers, the Woodward, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, all in the span of a few weeks before his second place finish in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
To think a 3-year-old would do all that and not be 3-year-old champion and horse of the year is unfathomable.
And deservingly lost 3-year-old champion and horse of the year.
No doubt.
An unbelievable year in horse racing, and he didn't win the races, but they're races, and that's the beauty of horse racing, races that we'll remember for our entire lives.